Atlanta. Practice Officer 5000, Jeremiah Yachty, Camp Leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's class. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Commander Junior YAHANNA.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King YAHANNA, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. SHALAM.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. I.S.U.P.K presents the Lord's 56th annual Passover going down right here in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a whole bunch of events lined up for y'all, including the annual lamb slaughter. You already know. Then it's the Hebrew Academy trial. Oh, boy. Next, we got the children's party. Then, you know, we got General Muhammad's scripture breakdown class. And the Hebrew Academy graduate. The Lord's 56th annual Passover. Pay your Passover fee. It's only $200. Generals in attendance, and the stage is set. It's going down. April the 12th in Atlanta, Georgia. This event is only for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indigenous people. We got a week full of events from April the 9th and the 13th. But remember, you gotta pay that pass fee. It's only $200 to get every event. It's here, the itinerary for the 6th annual Passover. April the 9th is the annual lamb slaughter party. 7 p.m. General Muhammad's scripture breakdown class. April the 11th, the Hebrew Academy graduation. Later that night at 8 p.m. is the all-black party. April the 12th is the Lord's 56th annual Passover. April the 13th is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. $200, 7 years old, to pay your Passover fee. See you in Atlanta, Israel. Shalom.
Yeah, 140 for the rebel, busy man, shit, nigga. They turn their head over, nigga.
Pray where Eve did to Adam, I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like Samson, I can't let no holder lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying, this shit ain't work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Suckle up and stay alert. Nothing. The cop can stretch the nigga. He ain't demon, this an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that oath in blood, then you know I'm gonna get active with you. From the opposition, I see vision. Let me spin, I listen. It's the but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers and never kidnap my family. I can't do that. Bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it young baby. How you real triggering on them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? What he saying something, I ain't him. This shit life. It ain't all who got the gun, it's all who gon' up that pipe first. I turn a bad situation to a game changer. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the chain. 6 shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that feeds you, you'll never get that hand back. He bitch about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody won't be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. A certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, out with that hollow sign, yeah, this the rim accord. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my brain, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get it, boy, lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
All right, let's clap it up. Shalom. Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatah to the brothers. Yahweh Shema, Elathah B'Shem, Yahweh Shai to the sisters. I am priest and officer of 50 Darah Shema, and we are the I.S.U.P.K. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the leadership and the guidance of Commanding General YAHANNA. And our duty is to teach the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who they are according to this Bible. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group. I repeat, we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. And this is the home of the truth. And today what we're going to be talking about are what are these so-called things that we are seeing in the sky? What are these so-called UFOs or so-called UAPs that's been spoken about over the couple of decades? We've been hearing about people seeing different sightings and different encounters with these types of UFOs or UAPs. And we're going to get into the definitions of those in just a moment. But what are these so-called UFOs or UAPs according to the Bible? How can we identify what's in today's world to what's actually in the Bible? We're going to learn about that today. Also, what is their purpose? Like, what are they around for? Are they just here for no particular reason? So we're going to find out what their purpose is for being here today. So we're going to start in the book of Zechariah, chapter 5 and verse 1.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes.
Right. So this is Zechariah speaking. He is another prophet, just like we are here today. We got prophets that are here today, speaking to you, talking to you, giving you the same information as those prophets back then. So he's describing what he's actually seeing in this point in time during his time frame. So he said he had turned, right? And he lifted up his eyes, meaning he looked up in the sky. And also, I think this is kind of important to point out too, before we start getting into it a little bit more. When we get into verse 2, he's actually speaking to someone. So when you go back a chapter, you go into verse chapter 4, you'll understand that he was having a conversation with one of the angels. So he was speaking to one of the angels. And we know when we read this Bible that the angels are a representation of the Most High. So they're his messengers and they speak for the Most High. So Zechariah was describing what he was seeing as he's talking to one of the angels. So you can continue.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked.
And he looked, right? So he looked and he lifted up his eyes. So he's looking up in the sky. And let's see what he's seeing.
And behold, a flying roll.
So behold, a flying roll. So something was in the sky when he lifted up his eyes, right? Something was flying. Now it says roll. Now I know sometimes when we hear roll can mean more than one different thing. Are they talking about biscuits or dinner rolls? You know, no, they're not talking about biscuit or dinner rolls. It would be nice to have a dinner roll right now, but that's not the type of roll he's talking about. So what type of roll is he talking about? If we can, if you can pull up the Merriam-Webster's for me. You can. I mean, I already got it, what I was going to say anyway. I just want to display all the different meaning of rolls.
For sure.
Come.
Merriam-Webster's online dictionary for the word roll as a noun, a written document that may be rolled up, scroll.
Slock, if you can go down, there's different ones on there. There should be one for number 8A. 8A. Come.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a lot.
No, you swap.
Merriam-Webster's online dictionary definition of roll as a verb, to take the form of a cylinder or ball.
Right. So what he's saying, he's saying something that's flying, like the form of a cylinder or a ball, right? So that's what he's talking about. And like Officer Bunke I was doing, he was looking at Merriam-Webster. There's a whole list of definitions on how roll can be applied. But the way Zechariah is explaining it, he's talking about a cylinder ball flying in the air, right? So with that being said, now he's going to get a little bit more in description on what he's seeing. Read on.
Verse 2. And he said unto me, what seest thou?
Right, as I said before, right? He was having a conversation with an angel. So it says, and he said unto me, what seest thou? The angels, what are you seeing? And he answered, what did he say?
What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll.
Right, so he says it again. I see a flying roll. I see a flying sphere or a flying cylinder ball going through the air, right? Read on. Not Salakia, jumping ahead too fast. So now what he's going to do, he's going to give you a little bit description on what it actually looks like in length and in size. So
the length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits.
Right. Now, when we hear the term cubits, we all know what the length of something is, how long something is, right? But when we hear the term cubits, it's an old ancient measurement of how they used to measure things. And how they used to measure things back then was they would take the beginning of the forearm to the middle finger, and that's how they would measure. And it's usually, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 18 inches. That's how they used to measure it. But most people nowadays don't really use, cubits as a measurement. We usually measure things inches or feet. But some may still use it today, but we know that's what they were using back then as an ancient form of measurement, which was cubits. So if you want to know what that would be in this time, you can always go into Google. You can type up, cubits into feet or inches, and that would be equivalent to, as I said, the length thereof is 20 cubits. So it's telling you how long this flying roll was. So 20 cubits would be equal to about 30 feet, rounded off to about 30 feet. Or basketball goal. 3 basketball goals, right? Didn't look at it that way, but that's right. Right. So 3 basketball goals will be also another comparison, as you can see, as far as the length goes. Now it's talking about the breadth thereof. So the breadth that's another name for side to side or the width of these. So what Zechariah is describing this flying roll, it's about 30 feet long and it's about 20 cubits wide. And 20 cubits wide would be about 15 feet wide, right? We all know that 12 inches equals a foot, and then each count how many feet, how many that would be. So that would be 15 feet wide, 30 feet in length that he's seeing this flying object, right? So with that being said, I want to make sure you guys have a picture of what he's seeing too. So with that being said, Officer Bankayal, I sent some videos in the email. If you can pull up, because it's very important that we understand what these things look like. So what we're going to do is we're going to show a video really quick of some of these things people may have seen over time. Now we're not going to watch this particular whole video. We're going to stop at about 1 minute and 30 seconds because it starts going into other stuff and then it can lead to other questions. The main topic is to identify what are these so-called UFOs and UAPs. So before we get into that, let's just pull up real quick, Officer Bankayal. We can show them the definition of UFO and UAP before we show this video, so they can understand. First of all, I know we may know what it is, but let's at least get it for them, the Google definition of a UFO and a UAP.
According to Merriam-Webster, UFO as a noun, a mysterious flying object in the sky that is sometimes assumed to be a spaceship from another planet. Unidentified flying object.
Right. So an unidentified flying object. So that's what they refer to as UFOs, right? Some unidentified object that's floating around, or like a spaceship, right? But I think the term now that they use, I think they replaced it with, correct me if I'm wrong, Officer Bankayal, UAP, right? So they use UAP now as the terminology of instead of UFO. So now UAP, so we understand also what UAP is. I like the Google definition, if you have the Google definition.
It was a little bit more in depth.
Right.
This is according to Google definition. I think is giving me the AI overview.
That's okay. I know that usually comes up anyway.
I think it might be beneficial.
Okay.
Okay, so like if I may, UAP, which originally stood for unidentified aerial phenomena, now means unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Right. So it used to be called unidentified aerial phenomenon, right? So it was replaced with unidentified anomalous phenomenon, right?
Right.
Right. So that's the new name that they're using for these unidentified flying objects, UAP, right?
Right.
So now that we have the understanding of the proper terminology, let's go ahead and Salakia.
So with respect to anomalous, it says encompassing sightings of objects detected in air, sea, and space that cannot easily be explained.
Right.
Salakia.
Right. The water for that. Right. No, you're Tawab. Thank you for that. So with that being said, now that we kind of got those definitions, you can always Google these yourself so you can get a little bit more understanding. But now that we got those and we identified them, let's take a look at this video so we can kind of understand what Zechariah was seeing and explaining. Yeah, we're going to stop it at 1 minute and 30 seconds because we're not going to go past that. Everything else is a little bit off topic.
Ready?
Oh, God.
Fair use for educational purposes only.
According to scripture, the prophet Ezekiel witnessed fiery wheels in the sky. He considered them divine. Now you're about to see a video that could show another celestial object over Israel that also might not be of this earth. 2011. A resident of Jerusalem is out for a stroll when a bright light over the old city catches his eye. He begins to film, and this is what his camera captures. A bright ball of light hangs over the old city. Strange on its own, but then it drops down to just above the buildings, hovers, and amazingly zooms straight up, literally in the blink of an eye. Watch this last part again. The ball of light seems to be just above roof level. There's a bright flash that stuns the onlookers.
Whoa!
And it rockets up and out of frame in less than a second. This isn't just happening anywhere. The orb, or whatever it is sighted over one of Earth's holiest places, the Dome of the Rock, also known as the Temple Mount.
The Dome of the Rock is one of the most important sites in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, where Muhammad ascended into heaven. It's also the site where Abraham was about to sacrifice his son Isaac to God.
It is also where Solomon was said to have built the first temple, and centuries after it was destroyed, where Jesus cast out the moneylenders of the second temple.
So it's going to start going to a whole bunch of other stuff, and we don't want to get people confused with what Esau identifies them as and everything else. But as you can see, this is off the History Channel. So this is something that they know of about, according to the Bible, because he made a reference to it as well. So they understand what's going on in this Bible.
Right.
They understand what's in this Bible.
Right.
Second of all, this is something that people have captured and seen before with their own eyes. So, but this is just coming from the actual news channel and History Channel, right? Now, this is, I know some people, you know, there are all people out there, they're non-believers and everything, and that's fine. It's okay. But before we show the second video, you know, understand this Bible is real. You have to believe in it. These prophets, what they seen, they're explaining to you what they have seen during their time. We're trying to give you the same information now. It's your choice to accept it or not accept it, what's being there. Now, this next video, this is just confirming what we have seen in the previous video. See, that was coming from the History Channel. Now, these, not that one. Gotcha. So this next one is going to capture it from different angles. So these are more than one person at the time that was happening that had it captured from different angles with their cell phone. So you can actually look yourself and be the judge. I want to mute it at keep it muted, and you can unmute it at 17 seconds because there's somebody jumps out with a cuss word, so I don't really want to put that on there for the moment. This one right here. So 17 seconds. Let it play. After that, you can let it go. Somebody drops a word I don't want to try to put on there. Right. So the same thing, we can pause it real quick. So you can see it's the same thing that we've seen in the other video, but this is the UFO that supposedly had appeared in that area in Jerusalem, right? And this is captured after they get past this part. It's going to show it sync from different angles on people's cell phone.
Holy shit. Oh, that's cool.
You can almost hardly look at it.
We've seen them in Mississippi like this, but never like never.
So you've seen that, right? From 4 different angles. So I'm going to go back to what the scriptures say now. So there's been sightings of these things that appeared more than one place. This is just one example. Now there was value when they started talking. Right. So that gives you something to think about. So that gives you something to think about, right? So let's go back to the Bible now. Let's go back to verse 2 and what it said, what Ezekiel said.
Salakia, we're in the book of Zechariah, chapter 5, verse 2. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits.
Right. Now, so we got a description of what he was seeing, right? So this kind of paints a picture in your mind what he was seeing from what we just showed you. Now let's read on. Let's figure out some more information about these so-called UFOs or this flying roll that Zechariah is seeing.
Verse 3. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth.
This is a what?
This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth.
Right. So this is a curse that goeth forth over the whole face of the earth. Now, why would this be a curse? Let's ask ourselves that. Why would this be a curse for? And what is a curse? What is a curse? If you can't, Officer Bunker, let me get the Google definition of curse.
Curse, according to Google, as a noun, a solemn utterance intended to invoke a supernatural power to inflict harm or punishment on someone or something.
That's deep. So it says a solemn utterance, right? So solemn, meaning very serious, right?
Right.
Or utterance. That's meaning spoken or spoken word. So you're speaking something very serious, intended to invoke a what?
Intended to invoke a supernatural power.
And who is the supernatural power? The supernatural power is the Most High God. The supernatural power. Now he's to inflict what?
To inflict harm or punishment on someone or something.
Right. To inflict harm or punishment on someone or something. So you have to ask yourself this question. Why would a supernatural power have to inflict harm or punishment on someone or something? We're going to get there, but keep that in mind. So we're going to come back. Verse 3. Oh, come.
This is according to the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, page 120. Curse, the reverse of to bless.
Right.
On the human level, to wish harm or catastrophe.
Catastrophe.
On the divine, to impose judgment.
On the divine, to possess what?
To impose judgment.
To impose judgment. So we know that there's judgment for this curse. So that goeth forth over the whole face of the earth. Now, let's see why. We can read on. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side, according to it. So it says, for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side, according to it. So for everyone that stealeth, now who do we know that would steal? Officer Bunkael.
Salak, if I may, this is really interesting to say that. And I know it's spiritual, one mind, one body, one spirit.
Right.
We were talking about how, the history of colonization of the entire planet.
Right.
And it's always the same usual suspects. The same usual suspects that actually go into different, on different continents.
Right.
Into different countries and assert their dominance and authority over these people. When you think of, North, Central, South America, the Caribbean. You think of Africa and how it got sliced up under colonialism.
Right.
You know, the so-called oppressor.
The so-called oppressor.
AKA, this is what he calls himself, the white man, or white society, Salakia.
Right. So we know that, right, right. The main one, of course, who stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it.
That's right.
So we know that that person that is talking about in this verse, that stealeth, is a so-called oppressor.
Right.
Right? How? Well, as Officer Bankayal said, a lot of colonialism or oppression. The Most High God says, and this is another good point too, now that you said that, it brought it to my knowledge. So the Most High God says, thou shalt not steal. Right? That was said back then. Christian church says laws are done away with.
Right.
But how can that be if this just said that? You stole, so you're going to be cut off.
Salaki. Why are you doing this to us, Officer Daraj?
I mean,
you like to stoke the fire.
I'm just trying to teach what's in the Bible.
You are stoking the flames of my anger.
Oh,
you know,
that's a good
when
thing,
you think
right?
about the so-called oppressor and everything that he's stolen from so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, starting with our identity,
right?
Starting with the Most High Power, His name,
right?
Christ,
right?
Our language,
right.
Our culture, our customs, our traditions, our feast days, our high holy days,
right?
Everything that the Lord gave us, the so-called oppressor stole,
right?
Salaki,
right? The water, give him a hand. Hey, water. So they stole the land of the Native Americans, right? We lost our identity. We don't know. Well, some of us know. You're an I.S.U.P.K. We know our history, but some of our people don't know who they are, or they're destroyed because that was taken from us. Right. You stole that from us. You stole everything that the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans had to call their own. And the thing is, you knew about it and could have always told us this at one point and never did. So when it says that for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side according to it. So you got a side over here where the Most High is going to be the people He's taking care of. Then you got on this side the people He got to give that curse that He was talking about. So understand what's going on here. Read on.
And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it.
Kind of the same thing, but verse 4 is going to re-explain what it means by swear. It's going to reinstate the same thing. So with that being said, you got what's going on here. Let's go to verse 4.
We're in the book of Ezekiel, the 5th chapter, the 4th verse. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts.
Right. He says He will bring it forth, right? He's going to make this happen.
And it shall enter into the house of the thief.
It's going to enter into the house of the thief? You trying to tell me that this little flying roll that Zechariah was seeing is going to enter into your house? It's going to go into your house? You see where it appeared, how fast those things move, right? It's going to enter into the house of the thief? Let's see what else it's going to do.
And into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name.
And into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. So I think Officer Bankayal kind of touched a little bit parts of this, how they lied on the Most High God's name, switched the Most High God's name. Right. So you have sweareth falsely by the Most High God's name. Right. Not only did you lie on him, you changed his name. Oh, the water. Right. Right. So blasphemy, you have lied and said that this was Christ or the Son of God. And we had our people believing this for centuries, right? So when it says, and it will go Slakia and into the house of him that swear falsely by my name. Well, this is what it's talking about. This is what's being described. You said that this was Christ.
Right.
So not only are you lying on the Most High, you kind of poking fun at his son too.
Right.
I want to toss it, but I might hit somebody, but you get the point. So when it says swear falsely by my name, that's what it's talking about. And let's read on.
And it shall remain in the midst of his house.
And it's going to remain in the midst of his house, the middle of that person who swear falsely and stealeth, right? And I have some more to add to that too. How are they swearing falsely? You know, they say what? God loves America, right? God loves America. Does God really love America? Does the God of this Bible love America? How people sit here and say on God. I swear on God. They'll be lying like a mug. That's swearing falsely by the Most High God's name. And everyone that swears shall be cut off on that side according to it. So if you swear falsely, remember there's this side, and then there's that side.
Right.
Let's read on. Verse 4.
So, like if I may, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof.
So you're trying to tell me that little flying roll, it can consume something? It's going to consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof? What does it mean to consume? What does it mean to consume? Oh, God. Because that's
consume, eat, drink, or ingest.
right.
To buy or to use up.
Right. Does it have like
so like if I may, I got another definition. That was the Google definition. Here's Merriam-Webster's. Consume as a verb, to do away with completely.
Right.
Destroy.
Right. So to destroy or devour.
Right.
So that's important to understand what type of consume it's talking about. So this is going to devour that house of those ones, this flying roll that's going to enter into the house of the thief and the one that sweareth. This is what it's going to devour, or who they're going to devour. Hope it's starting to make sense with what we're saying. Officer Bunker, you have something you want to add?
There's an intransitive verb definition.
Oh, Slakia.
To waste or burn away, perish.
Ooh, to waste or burn away or perish. Right. So we know that these flying rolls or so-called thing that Zechariah is seeing, these things all have a actual purpose now. Right. So let's read on now. Let's get the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 16. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 16. Now, while he's getting that down, I understand this is what Zechariah, was seeing. Zechariah was explaining what he was seeing. Now, here's another prophet in the Bible who encountered the same thing. He's seen something similar. Now, he's going to describe what he sees. Now, this is coming. These are prophets that are in the Bible giving you what they've seen with their own eyes. And let's see what Ezekiel's seen. Let's start at verse 15.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 15. Now, as I beheld the living creatures.
Right. So as he's beholding or looking at these living creatures, he's now talking about creatures. Now you have to understand what creatures he's talking about, because I know some people will read this and they'll think green aliens. Green squid, big head aliens.
Right.
But if you look up what the definition of an alien is, really, what is an alien? The actual definition. something foreign, right? So it depends on how you're looking at the definition. But are you thinking about little green Martian things? No, that's not what it's talking about. These type of creatures are creations of the Most High God. These creatures. So now as I beheld the living creature, this is Ezekiel explaining these creatures along with what else he's seeing. Read on.
Now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces.
Right. So like your Officer Balthazar one. I didn't read 14. You have something you want to add?
Now, what you're saying is so heavy, man. If we could just read one verse above it, and this is most of a reference to the video that you showed.
Right.
Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 14. It says, and the living creature ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. That's the same thing that we seen in that video, man.
Right.
Came down and disappeared like a flash of lightning, man.
Right.
These scriptures was written for our knowledge, man. We
Right.
understand that the Lord is giving us signs of the time, man. So like it.
We're trying to give it to him. Right. The water. All right. So like he was saying, it was a good reference as the appearance of a flash of lightning as it was described in that video. Now it says in verse 15, as I behold these living creatures, behold,
the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces.
Right. So these creatures, as you read on in the book of Ezekiel, he's talking about these actual angels, right? And we know that the angels had 4 faces, and they have had an actual, as most people would say, if you would ever see an angel in person, it would be a scary appearance. But we know if you read back in the day or back in the time, we were actually having conversations with angels. We weren't scared of them. That was part of our history at one point. So we were able to sit here, have a conversation with angels, not be scared of them, and just have a normal conversation. So he's describing these creatures with 4 faces, and one had one wheel upon the earth by the living creature, which is what he's talking about, the angels. Read on.
Verse 16, the appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl.
Right. And the appearance of the wheels. So now they're talking about the wheels, right? The appearance of the wheels and their work, how they were operating, how they were moving, was like unto the color of beryl. Now, beryl is like more of like a greenish, bluish color. What is describing these wheels look like, their appearance. And they 4 had one likeness. So it's talking about the wheels and their likeness.
So, like, if I may,
Officer Bunker, yeah.
Beryl, according to Merriam-Webster, a mineral consisting of a silicate of beryllium and aluminum of great hardness that occurs in colorless hexagonal prisms when pure and in various colors, such as green, blue, yellow, or pink. When not pure, that is valued as a source of gems, and that is the principal source of beryllium. Salakia.
The water. Right. Hey, if I miss it, I know you got it, brother. Right. Right. And it's going to get a little bit more into the appearance of these things. So it says, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So not only do you have one wheel, you have another wheel inside of this wheel. And as it was saying, these creatures were somewhat related to this wheel. But how? We'll get to that in just a moment. Let's read verse 17.
So like, yeah, you know, that's just interesting to me to think about a will within inside of a will.
Right.
And you know, the Lord show out. This is how I know we are literally the children of God.
Right.
Because of the things that we, you know, the things that we create, which is influence from a divine aspect. Y'all remember when them spree wheels just came out?
Right.
It was a wheel inside of a wheel.
Right.
Them spinning rims.
We was right. Con.
When you saw that, it was like, damn, it's almost like you looking at a UAP.
Right, and everybody had to have them.
Everybody had to have. Everybody wanted them. I remember brothers, because we broke. We can't afford to buy rims like that. We went and got the adapter. Right. The ones that just, you know, they don't, when you stop, they don't really keep spinning.
The hubcap.
Yeah.
Hubcap ones.
You know, so
right.
Like, come on, man. This is crazy. We are the people of this book, brother.
Yeah, we have to be.
Yeah.
We got rims. The Most High has his rims. Of course, it's on a whole different spiritual level, but that's what it is. You know, we are his children. So we're going to have resemblance of what he does. So I'm not sure even if we can find that or a great depiction of that online on Google anywhere. I mean, we can try if it is, but if not, a wheel inside of a wheel. Ezekiel wheels. Right. You might have to Google instead of YouTube it. At least we can get like maybe a picture of it. Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
So like, if I may, like, this is the reason, like, you know, like that Esau is the devil, because you know that if some niggas from Fayetteville, North Carolina, 2-6 can find these truths and these artifacts and these little minuscule videos of so-called flying saucers, unidentified objects,
right?
You know that they know what's going on. You know that.
They know the information.
It's crazy. And if I was them and I seen something like that move like that, and they done seen way more than we know.
Right.
And I seen crazy stuff like that, nigga, I'll be terrified.
Right.
I'm talking about terrified.
All right. So I don't know if I'll be able to finish this class with that, but if not, I'll continue it next time. But that's going to lead into the next part of it. So what Officer Bankaya has on the screen is it's what we were talking about as a depiction of a wheel being inside of a wheel. So that probably is the closest probably to what we can kind of depict a picture of for what the internet has. But just know on a bigger grand scale, when you see it in person from the Most High, it's going to be dazzling. Right. So that's what kind of gives you a description of what Ezekiel was seeing as far as a wheel being inside of a wheel. Now let's understand how these wheels move, because here on earth, when we, you know, the spree wheels, they look nice when the rims are spinning and stuff, but we know an actual automobile, it goes what, front, back up, and then you gotta turn like a 3-point turn in order to turn. But let's see how these things move, how these so-called UFOs or UAPs move. Verse 17.
When the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 17, when they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went.
So when they went, meaning how they moved. So when these so-called UFOs or UAPs, and we're going to learn what these are according to the Most High in just a moment. We're going to get to that verse. But so you understand, these so-called UAPs or UFOs, when they supposedly move, as you've seen, They went upon their four sides, and they turn not. So they don't have to turn. They don't have to, back up like a vehicle does to go the direction they need to go. They can go as they please. These are the Most High God's vehicles. They defy the laws of physics. They can go from and to whenever they please, how they please, and nothing on this world can stop that. So understand that there's no, what's the word? No restrictions on the laws of physics for these particular vehicles. Right? Now, I think
so like, if I may, online, I'm just going to share this brief article with you, something that we just pulled up.
Right.
And this is according to Popular Mechanics, which is highly revered in the world of engineering with respect to Esau.
Right.
It says highly maneuverable UFOs defy all physics, says government study.
Right.
And it goes on to talk about the releasing of these classified documents that are now unclassified. If you want me.
Go ahead.
Okay. With the release of mounds of unclassified, unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP documents, scientists are grappling with how to understand the objects previously known as UFOs. A new paper from the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARO, and Harvard University confirms that these UAPs seem to defy physics as they lack certain telltale signs, such as an ionized tail or optical fireball produced by friction.
So this is, as we can say, Esau's information of it,
That's
right?
right.
So, when the prophets are sitting here explaining to you what's coming out of the Bible, you won't listen to us.
Right.
You won't hear what we're saying. You won't believe anything we're saying, but you'll believe something that the oppressor will say.
Right.
But see, there's no hiding this now. There's no denying this now. You have many people stating that they have seen these things. So you have to give an explanation to the public on what is being seen. What are these things? You have to give an answer for it. So now, since there's footage on it, there's no denying it. And you're realizing that the priests and prophets of the I.S.U.P.K, we've been trying to tell you this information all along, since 1969. So let that sit in. Now, let's jump on down. We're going to stay in the book of Ezekiel. Let's go down to verse 21. Because now that we understand these wheels, right, we got to understand what's operating these wheels. What's these flying rolls that's going around? What's making them move?
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 21. When those went, these went.
Right. When he's talking about those went, he's talking about that flying roll. I mean, Shalak, the same these wheels we're talking about. Excuse me.
And when those stood, these stood.
So when those stood, these stood. Right? It's talking about the wheels.
And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them.
Right. And the wheels were lifted up over against them. Read on.
For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels.
For the what?
For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels.
So these wheels are being operated by a living creature, the spirit of the living creature. Now, who would be able to create something like that? Only the Most High God. So to understand that these wheels have the spirit of a living creature that's operating these wheels, as you read about. Let's read on verse 22.
And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal stretched forth over their heads above.
Right. And the likeness of the firmament, right? So it's making a comparison, or it's describing what it looked like. So the likeness of the firmament, and we know when we talk about the firmament, we talk about the skies upon the heads of these living creatures, was as the color of terrible crystal. Now, when you hear the word terrible crystal, like what do you think comes to mind when you hear the word terrible crystal? A dark crystal, right? I mean, most people would think a dark crystal. That would probably comes to mind. But what it's explaining, it's a phrase or a term describing like dazzling, being as bright as the sky. That's how these living creatures, how their color was, how bright they were, and stretched forth over their heads above. So these bright things, these wheels that are being operated, they have the spirit of living creatures operating them. Understand that. It's coming out your Bible. And I'm gonna end it with this last scripture. We get the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 15. The book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 15.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and 15 or 16?
Verse 15.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire.
Right. So it says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire. So now, as I said earlier, why are these things here? We gave you a couple examples earlier, but these particular objects that we see in the sky, they have a purpose. Why are they here? Well, this is going to explain if it wasn't clear before. Read on, Officer Bankayan.
And with his chariots like a whirlwind.
And his chariots, his what?
His chariots like a whirlwind.
Right. So these so-called UFOs or these so-called UAPs, these are called the Most High God's chariots.
That's right.
These are the Most High God's vehicles, his wheels, but they're known as the chariots of the Most High, according to the Bible. So when they say UFOs or UAPs, understand these are the Most High God's chariots, his vehicles, his technology that he has. And what he's going to do is he's going to come with fire, as it says in the book of Isaiah. He's going to come with fire. Now, as Officer Kowal does with his classes, he teaches we're on the breach of World War III, right? Well, Salakia, we all do, but most Officer Kowal, he stresses that during his classes. And also, so when World War III comes, we understand that the Most High is going to use these nuclear missiles for fire, for war. He's going to allow all this to come, and he's going to also come with his own particular, technology and butt whooping to come too. So understand that. So when it says the Lord will come with fire, understand that's what he means by fire. And with his chariots that we've seen, with the chariots like a whirlwind. Can you read on? Officer Bunker?
God. In the book of Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. To render his anger with fury.
To render his anger with fury. So not only did it say anger, it said with fury. So if the Most High God is going to be angry and fury, you have to ask yourself, what made the Most High God this angry and furious or fury? Well, we mentioned some of them earlier. They have destroyed the children of Israel. They have kept their foot on the necks of the children of Israel.
Right.
Esau has to go.
That's right. That's right.
Esau has to go.
Right.
The Most High God is angry. And when you look up the word fury, it means rage. You have to make somebody really, really, really angry to make them become furious with you. And for him to bring his vehicles too, now you have to ask yourself this question. with World War III on its way and these chariots, why would the Most High God come with chariots? Why would he have vehicles with him? Well, think about it. The military has their weapons in war, right? What do you think people have weapons of mass destruction for? Just have to sit up there to have it nice as a collection? No, they use it for war. And they're going to use it for war for the other nations and also for who? You think Esau's going to give up his land without a fight? You think he's going to give up his Officer Batzarwan?
So like, not just give it up, but give it up to niggas.
Right.
You're gonna give all that you conquered up to niggas, wetbacks, and spits.
Right. Nah, they can't. You think they're going to do that willingly?
Yeah,
no, that's why the Most High God got us in these chariots. And I'm going to show this last video, and that's going to be my time. So understand what I just said in Isaiah 66 verse 15. If you can, you play that last video that I have. Now, before we play this, I want you to understand that Esau, which is the oppressor, he has his own technology. He has things that he has worked and made for ruling other countries to oppress other countries, to win their wars or whatever it is they do. So, but I want you to take a look at what we were explaining this whole time and watch what it does to this missile.
Fair use for educational purposes only.
And flying downrange, we got all three stages of powered flight. And as the dummy warhead and the package flew on down range, we were all celebrating the fact that we had seen the thing and accomplished the mission. When I got back to the base with the film the next day, I was called into the office of Major Florence J. Mansman, and there were three people in gray suits standing in there. There was a 16-millimeter camera and a screen set up. Major Mansman said, "Lieutenant, sit down and watch this." And he turned down the lights, turned on the camera, on the projector, and the film came on. And I recognized it as the film that we'd shot at Big Sur the previous day. Toward the end of the flight, I was looking at Major Mansman saying, "Pretty good stuff, huh, sir?" And suddenly he said, "Just watch this." And as I watched, the warhead, the dummy warhead, the chaff that was put out in front of it as a decoy to deflect the Russian anti-missile tracking radar. Everything was flying along, and suddenly, in the same direction this stuff was flying at about 8,000 miles an hour, an object came into the frame, shot a beam of light at the warhead, flew up to the top, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew around the direction it was flying, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew down, shot another beam of light at the warhead, and flew out the same way it came in.
Well, I don't see it. Why didn't you see this when you were shooting it?
Well, it was 600 to 800 miles away from us.
Oh, I got you. They confiscated.
Well, first of all, the Major Mansman said to me, "What was that? Were you guys screwing around up there?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Then tell me what that was." And I said, "We got a UFO." And he said, "Lieutenant, you are never to speak of this again. As far as you're concerned, this didn't happen."
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I got to take a break. Okay.
Pause. And I'll leave it at that. So understand that the Most High God, he has his chariots, his technology, and also Esau has his technology. And I'm going slack you off.
No, that's heavy too, because there's been reports in the Navy. You know, they are always at water,
right?
And they've been reporting that they've been doing these nuclear tests with these submarine missiles, and these unexplained aerial phenomenon's been detonating these bombs or deading them like a dud.
Right.
Meaning they try to shoot them off, and then something just comes out of the water and just, it goes in without a splash. They've been seeing fleets of them in the sky, and they call them those things. It's so common they see these things on the ocean. They call them those things.
Right.
Also, too, has been reported. Also, now the Pentagon has declassified some of this UFO footage that we've been seeing. Yes, some of this stuff is America and Russia and China with their own devices, but you can tell when things start to maneuver past the laws of physics. That ain't nothing that a white man gonna make.
Right.
But when you start detonating or destabilizing or de-arming these nuclear missiles, that's the Lord is like, no, I'm going to tell you when it's time.
Right.
You're not going to blow nothing up yet.
Right.
And they don't want nobody to know because they know this Bible's real. You don't think they read Isaiah? Your Christian pastor didn't read Isaiah, but these devils know that these things from the fourth dimension that defy physics and gravity, going so many miles an hour against the knots of wind and making maneuvers and disappearing. Where the hell you think it went? So yeah, the Lord is the smith that blows the coals, not you.
Right.
Like he's going to determine when you can get it on, and it's going to be on his time.
Right.
Like us as Black Hispanics, like whenever we see like little scary stuff on the news, the rumors of wars, and hear Trump talking about some, you're gonna start World War III. Like it's so crazy that they really think they got power to like end this earth or end the world. You get what I'm saying? The Lord is going to, like what I was saying, man. Like don't fear that man, man. Don't fear that man that can't harm you, can only harm you with his words, man. Fear that nigga that can bring you alive and kill you. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Take you come and bring you back. You know what I mean? Bring you back. Bring you
Right.
back with 3 legs and a tail. You get what I'm saying? So like, man, like, goddamn America, man. You know what I mean? YAHANNA shot for the UPK, because this is an amazing class, brother. Congrats. Yeah, you doing your thing, bro.
I'm going to end it with this. So those so-called UFOs or UAPs that people are seeing in the skies, and there's more than one sight or seeing that people have seen, understand that these, according to the Bible, are the Most High God's chariots. That's my time. I'm priest and officer 50 Darash Shamath. This is the Israelite School University of Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. I'm gonna bring up Officer Balthazar, Officer 500 Balthazar 1. Oh, Salaki. I'm gonna read the announcement.
These are the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, start at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters enter into the class, man. They are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they are in need of transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is 8 commandments. Pay your tithes, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, man. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10 means Ma'ashara. It means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of increase that the Lord gives to you. Give to the treasury department. If you're cooking, if you planting corn, bring 10% of your corn. You know what I'm saying? Priest funds. Free will offering, anything you want to give. It's not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like. Upholy convocations is the Feast of Purim. It's the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month. Thursday, the 13th of March, and Friday, the 14th of March, 2025. You can find it in Esther 9:21 through 31. And with that, men of Israel, let's give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Isupk, Amajim, Barak, Top. Sorry. Basic sisters, let's give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Isupk, Amajim, Barak, Top. And with that, class dismissed. You did too wild, big dog. I ain't hold you. Turn it up. You know what I mean? Like.
Welcome to Atlanta. Christ, this Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got got General Muhammad's class. April 11th, we got the Black Party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Commander King YAHANNA.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. And no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King YAHWH, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. SHALAM.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. I.S.U.P.K presents the Lord's 56th annual Passover going down right here in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a whole bunch of events lined up for y'all, including the annual lamb slaughter. You already know. Then it's the Hebrew Academy trial. Oh boy. Next, we got the children's party. Then you know we got General Muhammad's scripture breakdown class and the Hebrew Academy graduation. The Lord's 56th annual Passover. Pay your Passover fee. It's only $200 to get all these exclusive events. Real black culture. The general's in attendance and the stage is set. It's going down. April the 12th in Atlanta, Georgia. This event is only for the black, Hispanic, and Native indigenous people. We got a week full of events from April the 9th and the 13th. But remember, you got to pay that Passover fee. It's only $200 to get every event exclusively. Here's the itinerary for the Lord's 56th annual Passover. April the 9th is the annual lamb slaughter. April the 10th is the kids party. At 7 p.m. later that night, General Muhammad's scripture breakdown class. April the 11th, the Hebrew Academy graduation. Later that night at 8 p.m. is the all-black party. April the 12th is the Lord's 56th annual Passover. April the 13th is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. $200, 17 years or older, pay your Passover fee. See you in Atlanta, Israel. Shalom.